Welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at how we can validate numeric information using Swift. This is so that when the user is actually typing something into the an app, you can verify that it's a numeric value because you may have actually put in a reference for it to use only the 10 key or the numeric keypad. However, if you're using, say, for example, localization features or something where the user is typing on a separate keyboard, that will override your keyboard preferences for the actual app itself. And so we have to make sure we can have it so it supports numeric input only. And so we've got a class right here we're going to work with. We're going to introduce a couple things to make sure this happens. And so I've got my class called NumbersOnly, and it conforms to the observable object protocol. As you can see right here, I have a single data member or property to this. It's a numeric value, and it's marked by the app published property wrapper right here. And it's a string. And again, we're using a string because when we're talking about text fields, those are automatically numeric values. I know. And so when someone's typing in a value, we have to have it so it comes in as a string, and then we have to force it to be a number from that. And so we're going to assign that the default value of an empty string because that's a great numeric value to start off with, is nothing. And then we're going to use the did set property observer so it watches for changes on that. And so when we see a change, we're going to say let filtered equal numeric value dot filter, which is going to apply a filter to it and return that value into it. The filter we're sending to this is going to be if the first property of that is a number or if it's a decimal point, because if we send a value of a decimal or a numeric value, we want to put it in them. Now, this is not a perfect solution. It allows multiple decimal points to be added to that, but it at least gives us ways so we can handle numeric input. If you want to get even more specific with that, you'd have to do a lot more work to handle the idea that maybe using a regex. Oh, I know, not what I want to deal with either. And so this is just a quick way you can verify that it's going to use only numeric values to work with that. And if the filtered value does not match the numeric value, all we're going to return is that filtered value. So it's going to squish out anything that's not a string or that's not a numeric value from that string, including symbols and stuff like that. So it has that work. We'll go ahead and we'll test this out using numeric only demo view we have right here. And so we'll just use an observed object. So again, we're using that property wrapper for observed object for the var that is numeric demo. That is a numbers only value. So we have that right there, and we initialize it right there as the variable insider view. And then I'm using a text. I'm using my custom input field that combines a label and a text field with a hint inside it, so it uses it so we can get some nice information for that. Take a look at my input field data if you want to see how we can actually create that as well. And so we have that information right here. The one thing we do have to make sure you know is that when you're using any text field type thing, you have the bound value of that because it needs to get the changed value, and it ties it to it using the binding prefix. And that's where that $sign comes into play. And then we also have right here that text where it's going to get the actual value and extract it that so we can see what the actual value is currently stored inside that as well. And so that's what we're starting off with. Let's go ahead and let's run this application so we can see what happens as we actually demo this in action. We've got a successful build, great time right here. All right, so we have our application running right here, and so my numbers only demonstration, and it's given numbers right there, so it's that title field right that. And we have our hint only type numbers. And so I type in right here, I'm typing in some numeric values. And as you can see, I'm getting some lovely numbers there. I can put a decimal point in there, and that keeps it just as fine. But when I try and type in any values that are strings, like say, for example, ASD, it only types numbers. And so you can see right there, it shows up for just a second, but it goes away as soon as I try. So I'm really trying to type a lot. And as soon as I try and get it, boom, it wipes it out. So it only allows the numeric values to happen. So if I have all that stuff inside there and I have the numbers and the text, you can see that I'm trying to type numbers in between that. And my letters that happen in between it, they go away immediately and they're not stored inside that value. So my numeric values are all that are retained when I'm working with this. And so this is a great way we can actually validate numeric information from the user. Again, what we did is we made a numbers only class. The numbers only class uses the observable object protocol with a published var of numeric values. It's a string that's initialized to nothing. And then we filter out the non-numeric responses from this. We use the check to see if what the supplied value is a number or if it's a decimal point. So that's whatever the keyboard input happens to be at that time. If it isn't a number or decimal, then it's going to go ahead and replace that with a nothing on that, because it filters the value back out of that. So you only get numeric values with this. I hope this is helpful. I hope you can get some use out of this as you're trying to validate user input, especially when it's numeric. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. See ya. Bye-bye.